I was born in Pasadena, California, but I was raised in Altadena. It was fun growing up in Altadena. I had all my immediate family from my father's side. We all lived within blocks of each other, and I had a lot of friends, and it was just cool. It was like a close, tight-knit family. For primary, I went to Noyes, and I went to Burbank for 1 year, and then Longfellow, and then Elliott when it was Elliott 8th grade, and then to Pasadena. Well, when I graduated from high school, I immediately started college at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in downtown Los Angeles. It's a long story.
Tell it.
Well, the book is my personal inspirational story, and it talks about how you can go from turmoil and tragic experiences, and you can grow from them, and you can become a whole person and living within your gifts and doing what you were called to do in life. Well, it was a long journey, a lot of twists and turns, but in the beginning, you know, I was raised in a two-parent household, and I had a lot of love and support from one parent, but from one parent I didn't, and it was kind of like a favoritism between me and my sister, and I wasn't the favorite, and so it put an ideal in my head that I was never good enough. And so even though it appeared like I was moving forward in my life, I really wasn't, because I felt like I was trapped in this idea that I was never good enough. So ultimately what happened as I matured in life, I started making really poor decisions, just poor decisions in my life. And so my marriage struggled, and I struggled, and so when my mom died, I felt like I lost that one connection that I had with someone who was positive. My mother died in 1995 from pancreatic cancer, and she had a very short battle, and it was really hard to see her, you know, because my mom was a very fit and athletic woman, and within 6 months, she was skin and bones, and then we had to bury her. And then after about 10 or 15 years after my mom passed, I was writing for a newspaper at the time as a fashion columnist, and I thought I was living my dream. But there was something in the back of my mind that just wanted to do something to support women who were fighting cancer. And so I started a nonprofit organization called A Daughter's Heart. And it just blew up. There's no way I can explain it. The community just gathered around me, the hospitals that we supported. A Daughter's Heart basically came from when my mom was fighting cancer. What seemed to happen was that a lot of people in her life just didn't come around anymore, and I understand that. People don't know what to say when someone is, you know, passing away. So when I started A Daughter's Heart, I said I want to do something for women who are undergoing cancer treatment, and I want to go into the hospital and visit them and be like a friend and just offer them love and support. And my friends, the community, churches, hospitals all gathered around me, so the support was quick, and it just grew so fast that we saw that we needed to have a fundraiser. And so since I love jazz, I said, well, I want to have like a jazz concert. And so I immediately went to my newspaper connections and asked, does anybody know any jazz musicians? And word got out, and this guy named Gary Stanionis stepped up. He was a percussionist, and he's really popular in the jazz scene. And so he helped me. He got a group together, and we started having a fundraiser called Jazz to the Heart. When we first started it, we only had 25 people. By the end of A Daughter's Heart, which was, I think, Jazz to the Heart number 6, we ended up having over 200 people. We were in this huge venue in Rancho Cucamonga, and we started having like national recording artists and so forth. So it just grew, and And then I got sick, and so then I couldn't, keep doing A Daughter's Heart anymore. And then I just kind of felt like I had done what I wanted to do. I wanted to honor my mom. And so when I got sick, I just stopped working, and my husband said, you know what, just take this time and just get better. And so while I was here, I said I'm going to start a blog, and I started a fashion blog called So What to 20. And then So What to 20 started growing, and then I started getting calls from designers and stores saying, if we send you clothes, will you wear them and promote them on your blog? So I said sure. So that grew, and then my community with So What to 20, the network around me started growing. And I said, I'm going to share my story. I want to go deeper into Glenda and find out who she really is, because with all of this, I felt like I was still dealing with the low self-esteem issues. And so I wrote about it on the blog, and the response was tremendous, with people saying the most positive, uplifting things, with people I've never seen in my life, just through the internet. And eventually the story that I wrote on the blog segued into the book. And so I just expanded, and I went deeper, and I really explored my background and the mistakes I've made along the way. And then ultimately, after I finished the book, I felt like I really knew myself, and I felt like I was finally at that place called peace. Well, in the next year, I'll tell you, I already have 2 speaking engagements. One at a conference in Las Vegas, and that's called BAM, Bloggers at Midlife. I'm speaking on reinventing and branding. And then the same year, 2016, I'm speaking at the Women's Health Conference in October, and that's in Pasadena. So the speaking engagements are already starting. And I'll probably try to figure out how to make that into a workshop and try to market that more. I'll probably base it off of one of the chapters in the book, and that chapter is called The Purpose of Butterfly Wings. Chapter 6 is The Purpose of Butterfly Wings. And it's a really nice chapter. It talks about how I finally arrived to the point where I understood myself, and I knew my value and my gifts. And just like how a butterfly, they have their wings. Well, you can't take off one wing of a butterfly and put it on another and expect it to work. And that's how I thought I was to live my life. And I understand now what my value and what my gifts are and what my contribution is to this world. And so with that chapter, The Purpose of Butterfly Wings, I would like to expand it and make it into a workshop. Oh, I would love to do something like that, because I wish there was somebody in my life that would have caught me before I grew into adulthood, to talk about self-esteem and what your value is to this world. So yes, I would love to do a workshop in the school districts. If you do not know yourself, how do you know which way to go? We all have our own unique wings, and with these wings, you can fly. This is where your journey begins.
A Place Called Peace, now available on CreateSpace eStore, Amazon, and Kindle.